The judge admonishing the defendant, I've seen it time and time again. I've been admonished like that. It's by design. It's to make you appear to be inept. It's to make you appear to be stupid in front of a jury. And don't think that it's not intentional. You know, well, all the trolls, all the journalists, they'll put that out there.
Okay, so being admonished is intentional when a judge does it. Does that mean that it's done to make you look stupid? No, it might in practice make you look stupid. In effect, maybe. But what she's referring to there is that during the E. Jean Carroll trial, she was repeatedly admonished by the judge because she did not understand relatively basic aspects of how the courtroom functions, how procedure functions. She just didn't understand it. Now, you don't need to know everything in life, but you should be open to learning from people who do. But that's not how she approaches this. The judge corrected her and she gets mad. She gets insular and says, "You're trying to make me look stupid." Rather than learning, she lashes out. And honestly, I don't think that it's unfair to point out that she and Donald Trump don't understand the law. And I'm gonna criticize both of them, but I'm not gonna do it baselessly. I'm gonna do it with evidence. So here is some of what Alina Habba has been saying about these trials.
We're seeing a painful, unfortunately, selection because we're in the state of New York, which is definitely by design. There is no question that Bragg bringing this in New York, look at the Fulton County D.A. and so on and so forth, Washington, D.C. These venues are selected exactly for this reason, Martha, so that they have a blue state with a blue pool. We're in a blue state. That's all by design. Don't get it twisted, folks. They do this intentionally, just like they bringing the one in Washington, just like Georgia. They pick these states on purpose.
They pick these states on purpose. She's right. She's wrong about the point she's making, but they were picked on purpose. Now, I included two different clips there to make sure that you know that she did not merely misspeak. The argument that this trained lawyer who has passed the bar is making is that in these three different cases, in New York, Fulton County, and Washington, D.C., they chose those locations so that it would be a blue state. First of all, the idea that Georgia is a blue state seems like kind of a bold statement that requires evidence of its own. But regardless, those quotes, they are the things that should make Alina Habba look stupid. But that said, as I said, I believe that people should be able to learn. And so I'm gonna try to educate her a little bit. I'm not a lawyer, but I understand this a little bit better than she does apparently. The reason they chose those locations is because that's where the crimes were committed.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
And also to point out specifically that the Fulton County D.A. charged him in Fulton County on purpose. Where would you like the Fulton County D.A. to charge him? Sheboygan? That's where they charge people. That's their area. He committed the attempt to overturn the results of Georgia in Georgia. They did the hush money payments and falsified the business records where Trump's business is, which is New York. His attempt to overturn the results of the election in DC is being prosecuted in DC because the crime was committed in DC. I mean, they even have gone out of their way in one of the cases with the classified documents. You theoretically could have done that in DC. They decided to do it down in Florida instead, giving you a red state for that one. This is not some sort of choice. This is not searching for a jury. This is where the crimes were committed. And I have to imagine that she understands that. Look, I've made sort of references to this being evidence that she's stupid. I don't even think that that's true. She is clearly lying here. This is utter dishonesty. There is no way you get through a day of law school, let alone passing your exams, passing the bar, and not understanding where trials end up, where they end up. Sharon, what do you think?
Well, I think a couple of things. Okay, maybe she's not stupid, but I still think somebody helped her with that bogus argument. I think somebody gave her some cliff notes before that appearance. I just do. And about Georgia, you're right about that. I mean, this is a place where Herschel Walker, I'm in Georgia, almost won, talking about werewolves and vampires. So theoretically, if he didn't live in Texas, he could have popped up on the jury in Fulton County. This whole thing is, it's silly, but it's something that you said a few minutes ago. It's really all they have. It's all they have to go on here. And there's still a ton of people who want to walk with them on this really silly journey. Yeah. They really do want to walk with them.
And look, I'm critical of her when it comes to the law, but I will grant you that she understands how to succeed, not in a courtroom, but with Donald Trump. It's by saying insane things like that make you look like a terrible lawyer, but a loyal Trump person. And she's been doing a lot of that recently. She was asked by Eric Bolling about Trump falling asleep, and Eric Bolling seemed incapable of conceiving that this old man fell asleep in court. But he asked her about that, and her argument was that President Trump, he reads a lot. I don't understand how that's a defense. Did he fall asleep reading? Did he just look like he was falling asleep because he was reading a novel at the time? Who the hell thinks that Donald Trump reads a lot? But she knows what to say. She knows what to say to stoke his ego. That's why she's still around. She's lost him hundreds of millions of dollars, but she's still employed because she knows that it's not what she does in the courtroom that really matters. It's how she strokes his ego. And I will end with this because I don't want to just be critical about her. She's not the only one in this that doesn't understand how the law works or courtrooms work or trials work. Donald Trump posted this, and this is to sort of round out our talk about the jury selection process. I thought strikes were supposed to be unlimited when we were picking our jury. I was then told we only had 10. Not nearly enough when we were purposefully given the second worst capital V venue in the country. Don't worry, we have the first worst also as the witch hunt continues. Election interference. Is this a Dr. Seuss book? What is going on with the first worst? But anyway, he thought strikes were unlimited. Why did he think that? Nobody told him that because that's not true. That's never been true. It's not true in this case. It's not true in most cases because if it was true, if you could strike as many jurors as you want, you know what you could do? You know what Trump would do? We'd never have the trial because they just strike and strike and strike and strike and strike. I feel like I'm that preacher speaking for Donald Trump. It was a weird reference, but no, that's not how this works. He just says things that aren't true and seems shocked by the fact that he had to learn the process. And he can do that because the people reading these truths, the people watching Eric Bolling know even less about the law than Donald Trump and Alina Habba. Final comment goes to you, Sharon. What anything to do with this trial?
I don't know if you're a lawyer, but you sounded like one right there. But I think you were just kind of going through a process in your mind that, oh yeah, you couldn't have unlimited because then, like you said, the trial would never happen. I always wanted to go to law school, so I watched some of this stuff. I've lived long enough to watch the OJ thing. You know, the judge can still strike people after they run out. The court has it in their interest not to be reversed, and if somebody seems a little wacky, they can just, the judge can take care of that. He's all over the place, and to hold his hand, the lawyer who you said whispered in his ear, could just be like, I don't know how much they speak in court. Maybe it's the babysitter lawyer. It could be the babysitter lawyer who has to, wake up, stop resting your eyes, stop going on Truth Social. You've been warned. You need some. It's exhausting. You have a brand new baby, and it can't be this difficult. It can't be this difficult. Come on.
My baby doesn't post on Truth Social much. That makes it easier. Yeah, no, this is like you get a certain number of strikes that you can just do for any reason other than I think like race and gender or something. I think are the only, and like maybe disability. They're literally the only reason. Otherwise, just I don't like what you believe or whatever. I can get rid of you. But obviously, you can't do that an unlimited number of times. And that doesn't mean that they can't remove anyone else. There are plenty of ways they can remove other people and are already doing that. They just don't have the automatic freebie get out of having a juror free cards. They get 10 of those already. And again, if you're like a MAGA person, you're watching this, I will close with this. Like, you believe, right, that he didn't do this, that he deserves his day in court to actually make his case, to present the evidence, because he's confident that he didn't do it, so he can't be guilty. Is he acting like that, though? He only talks about the fact that they're trying to do this quickly. He wants to delay it. He doesn't want to present evidence. And I know why, because what evidence is he going to present? But you believe he has something. Why doesn't he want to show it? Now, I know you think that he'll present the evidence that proves that he's innocent and he'll still be convicted. Okay, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But supposedly along the way, he's going to present some bombshell evidence, right? I don't think he's going to, but stay tuned. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.